Welcome back to Heroes and Hooligans this fantastic Monday night where we are playing Delirium, a Grim Hollow / Hooligan Shenanigans campaign. We missed last week because I've been dying, so we're gonna just jump back into it this week. Speaking of jumping back into it, hey friends, who's doing a recap?
I did it
I'm
last
not very
time.
good at them, honestly.
Val, you did do it last time, so you don't have to if you don't want to.
I was
But
gonna say if Melnir doesn't want to, I can do it.
sure.
However, I'm sure there were several key things from the gopher hole that we started in that I'm gonna forget about. But we basically started where we left off. We had made it through the puzzles and through the dungeons to the gopher's kind of study. We had lowered the bridge and come across. And as we came in, we all kind of took a slightly cautious approach as we saw three gophers, two of them beating on the one in the middle who was crying out for help. There was some disarming that happened. In the literal sense, Chip lost a sword because he tried to break the red crystal that was on the gopher's arm, and the crystal ate his sword. So he instead decided that to get rid of the crystal, got to get rid of the arm. But we dealt with the other two gophers. We managed to heal slightly the gopher who had been asking for help, who really explained that he didn't know that much. They had found this red crystal, and then it attached itself to his arm. I feel like we found important things in his notes. We found a journal that had notes about the red crystal and different things happening, that kind of chronologued what he went. He offered us his loot and ultimately essentially said that he was not long for this world. So we went through his chest and found various magic items and things. Including some bracers of archery. I know Val gave a staff of healing to Harnack. I don't fully remember all of the items. I know there was, I believe, some elvish armor.
Elven chain.
Yep, elven chain. There was a rod, bracers of archery.
A rod of withering and a bag of holding,
Yep.
Yep.
which we gave to the rogue.
Yep. Gave the bag of holding and group loot to me. I suppose I do actually have quite a few things on here. Let's see. There was a bunch of gems.
Yep.
I don't know if you want me to list the specific gems.
No, you don't have to.
But we also searched his study, library, living quarters, and did, in fact, I believe, find the last word stone.
Correct.
And so after some talking and some resting, I believe we took a few days and long rested.
You did.
We kind of caught the others up, explained that we were in this kind of underground tunnel system, and there was this other door that we kind of want to go check out now that we have these word marks. I don't know if we mentioned the full reason we're here. I think we mentioned we're looking for a crone stone in a laboratory, but I don't think we went into too much detail beyond that.
I'm not quite sure you did.
I don't recall either. Did you took the elven chain, didn't you, Brill?
No, I have the elven chain.
Yeah,
Harnack does,
we gave that to Harnack. Yeah.
Oh, and there was also a Parasipat of health that Val bargained.
Yeah.
The other guy for.
Yeah, the periactive wound closure.
Yep.
Yep, you got some pretty good stuff. I got
the periactive wound closure?
Yep, it's wound closure.
But yeah, I mean, a big part of last time was fighting the gophers in combat. I think that was pretty much where we left off, was at the end of the long rest, us taking those couple days downtime and then getting ready to go back to the fancy metal door.
Yep. The only thing I want to cover from your long rest is Tina had decided to do some dream wandering. So I want to go through and see each character's interaction with Tina as she comes through your private sleep space. I want to know how everybody reacts to that before you pack up and move on.
To make it nice and simple, Val is keeping it nice and straightforward for everyone. Basically, when she comes into the dreams, she either does so quietly, like kind of hanging around in the background until you take notice of her and then she approaches, or if you just completely ignore her, she eventually comes up, just kind of like does a tap on the shoulder and asks a little bit about who you are, what she may need to know what she may need to know as a potion maker and such, for like if you got any previous health conditions, and just something about you that's important. Of course, you are no way, shape, or form required to answer any of these. You can give me the hardest stare you want. I expect that from Melnir, honestly.
I would assume it was the quiet approach with him. He probably says something like "Get out of my head, witch," but he probably would answer some questions for her. So you want to know something about him, like his past or something like that, or
just something about him that you would deem important. Whether it's something from your past or it's a binding factor, something that is part of your identity.
Can I get back to you on it?
Yeah, perfectly sure.
Okay, yeah. Let me think about it. All right. So he probably will take it seriously. So,
I will also throw out there, Val will answer the exact same question for everybody. I'll give the information once everyone else gives their interaction, though, of course.
All right. All right.
Go for it, Harnack.
So I was just gonna say, if like when you go into like Harnack's dream, before he notices you, you'd probably see his silver hair. But as soon as you notice him, or he notices you, he'd immediately turn into how he is in the outside world, mask and everything. He'd be a little, I'd say not irate, but he'd be a little frustrated once he realized you were in there.
And it's not just you dreaming.
Yeah, he'd be like, "All right, kind of don't make this a habit." But other than that, he'd probably. So, what were the questions you said you'd ask one more time?
Something important about you, something that she should keep in mind for her potion making, like any pre-existing conditions, and something that makes something that is you, something that is a part of your identity.
So, he wouldn't have any. He would probably talk about the wound from the rabbit that he's got. He's got a deep wound from that. Other than that, the only thing he'd probably tell you is just that he's trying to think the best way to word this is he values helping others more than he values his own life.
That's what I'm taking note of. Thank you, Harnack. I'll take a special note. A special note that before she leaves your dream, the last time before we leave, she literally does like a little, she like kind of reach out and play, like kind of like tap the front of your mask before popping out of there.
Brill is probably frustrated. You would probably like the setting, if you're taking the quiet approach, would essentially be her moving around a bustling city very frequently with someone else who never turns around, but over time she would probably like out of the corner of her eye start to notice you and take a while for it to figure out, because Brill dreams like an ordinary person. And eventually she would like kind of talk to the person she's been walking with in turn and come and approach you and be like, "So can I help you?"
All I seek is a few small tidbits, and since we're asleep, it's a perfect time to ask. Should I know anything? Do you have some long-term poisoning or wound that I should look into? What would you say is the centerpiece of your identity? And is there anything else that you feel that's important enough to share?
Those are very personal questions.
Indeed. If you don't answer them now, I may ask again later, but so long as I'm with you, it's important to know.
I have no lasting wounds unless you can reverse the effects of aging.
Can't do that. Not yet.
As far as something important to me, what I will say for now is this. I am looking for someone, and any help in finding them is always appreciated. And if I may offer you a bit of advice, the others may not be so welcome to your magic. You may want to keep a low profile. You're muted, bud.
Especially with those two who have ties to the Inquisition, I must agree. Especially since I don't know how they are now.
Perhaps one more thing. Things are not always what they appear. They may not be the only two who have ties to the Inquisition. And with that, Bro would walk away and go back to Dream Bro.
Okay. For everyone, Val would pretty much tell them that what's left over from the olden days is vastly important for the leftover magic, the leftover ties to what once was, still sings and tells a story. To know that information is a grand importance to me. I have no lasting things to keep in mind. I am rather hardy, as best as I can be. And if I were to say what is grand important, it's that. Sorry, I have this one written down actually. No, nothing should fetter the infinite possibility inherent in all existence. That's me.
Well, that went down a rabbit hole or a gopher hole, I will say.
Gopher hole.
Zing!
Yeah, I got dad jokes sometimes.
I'm here for it.
You know, it's my favorite dad joke.
Hmm.
What do you call a cow with 2 legs?
I don't know.
Lean beef.
Ha.
All right, there's a second part. What do you call a cow with no legs?
I don't know.
Ground beef.
beef?
You're welcome. Yes, ground beef.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, back to D&D. That's my favorite dad joke, by the way.
I'm gonna use that on my daughter.
Yep, she's gonna appreciate it. So you sleep, and you're visited in your sleep by Tina. You get your long rest, your 72 hours. You kind of hunker down in a place that's very safe for you to do so. And after that, you pack up, I assume, and head back out. Harnock and Brill, you know the way out, so I will let you go ahead and lead.
I will also just kindly remind Melnir, you have a 1d8 good medicine potion, which you drink. When you drink it, it's a 1d8 heal. And Brill, you have a potion of Misty Step. When you drink it, you'll be able to use the Misty Step as a bonus action. I'm pretty sure it has to be in the same turn though, so it'll be like action boom, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll lead them back through the tunnels where we rescued all of them. I assume there's a way to like lower the bridge from inside because I think we raised it to hunker down.
Yeah, same Same as
Yeah.
it was lowered, it'd be the same. Lowered and raised, it's the same.
Yeah. So we'll lower the bridge and go back through the troll alley and the spiderweb caves, because I think that's the straightest way back out. Would be back across the bridge into the stone serpent room, then into the mushroom room or the plant room. We never really got a whole lot of interaction in that one.
No, not really anything overly exciting there to interact with. Just some foliage, underground foliage, shrooms.
Did Harnock want to check? Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say probably could be used for potion making or something along those lines if you wanted to try.
now that we're not running and confused down here and have an idea of how things work.
Yeah, I'll take a gander at the mushrooms.
Sure.
Tina will offer some assistance.
Nature to identify, survival to harvest.
Nature. It's 5. Well, that's a 6 for my nature check.
Was that with advantage?
Oh, that was not with advantage, sorry. That's a 12 now.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy for you to figure it out. They pretty much appear to be various sizes of death cap mushrooms, which you know are used to make mostly poisons.
And what'd you say was the harvest? I'm sorry?
Survival.
Survival. Oh, also.
You should be very careful when you cut at the base.
I got a 19 for that one.
Yep, so you're able to go ahead and roll a d6 since you got 19, and that's how many of them you'll be able to harvest up.
I got a 3.
So you get 3 of them.
Cool.
And it's just a basic ingredient that you could use if you have a poison maker's kit, or I think herbalism lets you make poison too, or alchemy. Whatever does, you could use it as an ingredient to make poisons.
Awesome.
But yes, that is the straightest way out, is through here, up and around, and then back out to here.
Oh no, there's still a gopher alive.
I'm more worried the troll would be back.
The one that you guys threw in the
Lava.
lava. Yeah.
We gave the...
That's where he got moved to when he got cremated.
So yeah, we'll just make our way up cautiously, making sure there doesn't look like anyone else has come in behind us or anything.
And you find yourselves back in the
fish room?
Yeah, the statue room. The fish and everything is gone. Like, it's
okay. Yeah.
Cleaned up and it's back to how it was, minus the veil fire from the center orb. There's nothing there in the center now. And so you move out into the long hallway, which brings you to a map that you don't see all of, only the hallway part. You're welcome. I'm not going to cover it. It's just too much.
The hallway down on the bottom left?
Yeah.
Perfect.
On the way, Bill will point out the big floaty crystal. Don't hit it with things. It zaps you.
Very aggressive crystal.
The door that you needed to put the word stones in is here.
Okay.
What the?
So yeah, Bro will gesture to the places up above. That had word marks that she cannot read, and will kind of look to Val and be like, so you read those, right? Holding up, I think these we had to show the balefire to see the symbols.
Yep.
But so I think these go to that, and then they open this big metal door. And we don't know where that goes.
Well, that's always good to think about. And Val will look over the word marks and see what they say.
It's the 4 same marks that you saw on each of the stones.
All right. Val will investigate the door and the word marks to see if she can discern that is 100% what they'll do is just open them and not cause a column of fire to erupt at them.
I'm pretty sure that Harnock and Brill had already done that, but to double check, yes, that is exactly what it does. That's why they needed it from their last interaction with this door.
Oh, perfect. And Tina will take the one that she has marked, and will attempt to insert it into the slot by the with the corresponding mark.
Yep, and it clicks right in, and it like kind of glows that faint blue glow of the veil fire.
She will turn to Melnir, and I am drawing a blank on his name right now. Ask and say, let me get those stones that you woke up with, please.
Hand it over.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, Sir Storic will also give.
And Brill will give the one she found in the room or whatever.
Then Val will go ahead and insert them into the corresponding slots. Take it notably leaving the one closest to the side open, so when she does that, she inserts that and actually leaps out of the way of the doorway. All too careful.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you put them each in, and they all light up that blue color. And then once all 4 of them light up, they kind of suck into the wall and become flush with the wall. And you hear some clicking and whirring, and the giant door in front of you kind of recedes into the wall, opening you into a I guess it's called what, an antechamber area, kind of here, with another set of doors on the inside. The set of doors that you see on the inside are very different than anything you probably recognize from anywhere. They are made of metal, and the technology that appears to be powering them is much beyond what any of you from 100 years ago are familiar with.
Huh?
Witchcraft.
I recognize this. Tina will kind of uncharacteristically, as she kind of recognizes this, kind of getting lost in a half dreamlike state, will just kind of like will stand up and almost as if infatuated, lost in a daze, kind of starts walking in, like kind of a step to the side, step to the side, step to the side before her movements become a little bit more straighter, walking to the middle of the split. If this door here is actually open. If
Nope.
not, I will open it.
No, this is closed. It is all closed.
And Val will come to that door and will like reach a hand out to start opening it if no one stops her.
I'm gonna say Harnock's gonna get a little closer, but
Okay.
we're all at the edge.
We're cavemen seeing a TV for the first time. Like,
So you reach out towards it, Tina, and almost like a motion activated door at a shopping center, it kind of starts to open. And as it does, it's a slow opening. As it does, you hear the clicking and whirring of the big stone door behind you as it starts to push itself closed as the other one is opening.
Brill will try to tumble through before it closes.
It's moving pretty slow, so you can get in.
Val watches it does so, and then just kind of glances back to everybody, half seeing them like tumble in, half seeing them just kind of walk through, before just kind of ducking down or kind of moving sideways. Or is it like kind of an up and down door? Or is it kind of like the opening from the middle?
It's opening from the middle.
All right, so then she'll just kind of like step in and step into the center of the hallway.
Yep. So you'd find yourself right there. Yep. When you step in to the hallway, you realize that it is lit by what looks like to you flameless torches. And there are some grates in the floor below your feet. The rest of it being stone floors and metal walls, very different than what you're normally used to. And you notice these sort of green or colored, I wouldn't just say green, colored glowing lines that run through the floors in all the directions.
Do you know this place?
I don't, but I do. I think I've been here in a dream. And
That's
she's staring up at
different.
one of the flameless lights, and she'll pull out one of her torches and light it with a firebolt right onto it, and hold the flame up to it, taking note of the difference in how they are acting. And the flameless torch is just like it's a lit light, right?
Yeah, so it's like when you hold your torch up to it, you see that it's like a glass globe. And inside of the glass globe, the light seems to be contained. And it doesn't even look like it's burning at all, but there's a sort of metal wire in there holding some sort of maybe magic that keeps it lit.
She will then extinguish her torch and look around everyone else and kind of like shake her head a little bit and say, "Sorry, I was a little intrigued there. Melnir, do you recognize this place at all?"
Not at all. What sort of witchcraft made this place?
If it is witchcraft, I haven't the slightest idea. It's far beyond my capabilities.
And he's just kind of patrolling, kind of back and forth, just kind of looking down at the grates and just kind of on edge, like kind of like the way a tiger kind of stalks back and forth.
You come here prepared to know what kind of place this is? Do you know where anything is? Where do we go next?
You're going to probably have to repeat that for me, friend, because you were kind of talking really low and then your voice came back to normal.
Oh, sorry. I said if you've been to this place before, do you know where anything is? Where do we go next?
Huli, can I try to recall? You said this place looks familiar. Can I try to recall if I do recognize where what this place may be, or wherever we might?
Not familiar.
Not familiar. No.
Not familiar.
Got you.
If you heard familiar, I apologize. Very unfamiliar level of technology for people who are from 100 years ago, which is now all of you.
I mean, Hardock at least lived that 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I came across a lot of this in the wilderness.
No, I'm definitely going to say you didn't.
We're in the middle of a forest. I mean, if no one knows where to go, does someone want to pick a direction?
I would just say maybe north. Just maybe like go up here.
We've been underground. Do you know which way north is, Melnir?
I think generally has a pretty good sense of direction. Is that something though I could roll to?
For all intents and purposes, we'll just say standard north, south, east, and west for the map because it's just I am a blonde. So
Not
it's
good.
easier for me. So we're gonna say that you know it's north. Fuck a dice roll.
I just figured maybe as a dwarf he had like good
That's fair.
underground,
Like stone
navigation
sense.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
In a normal cavern, absolutely, but this all seems to be
Yeah.
man-made, and the walls are made of metal. But you can go ahead and move in the northward direction.
I'm about to say, is there any like anything on the walls or anything that tell us like any rooms or anything?
No, you just have the colored lights in the floor that kind of head towards different directions. Like this one T-bones right into a door. This blue colored one, light blue colored one does the same thing, hits a door. These ones as well. There's like a little door here and then the main door here. They all kind of head in those directions.
At least if we get lost, we know to follow the lines.
Mm-hmm. There were some words written on the floor, but I'm not sure anybody investigated them, so I didn't give you the information.
I was about to say, Harnack will be way too intrigued by the lights as well.
Shiny.
Shinies.
Brill will check out this room a bit if the door is open for her if she approaches it.
It does not.
Okay.
Val will trail behind a little bit, kind of getting infatuated with the grates for a moment, and and looking down at those, I would like to see if I can investigate the words on the floor.
Do you speak Abyssal?
I do.
Okay. So they translate roughly to weapons, storage, cafeteria, main, recreation, medical, heating, and security.
Tina will take out one of her smaller pieces of parchment and scribble down what she reads from it. Roll it up, stick it in her sleeve, and follow after everybody.
Because the colors seem to be leading towards certain things, like green and blue. He's just trying to figure this out, like based on what he just heard. So maybe green is food or health.
From what I can discern on it, if the white lights appear to mark weapons, the light blue one that Brill was just standing on, that apparently is heating. Though, strange. Dark blue for storage, yellow for cafeteria. What is a cafeteria? As well as main and... What's that black one read?
Security.
Security. A security and, well, the green one is recreation. Harnack, you have a deep wound, do you not? From a rabbit?
From a bunny rabbit, yes.
Well, how is that wound faring you? Because this one might interest you. And she'll point to the lime green line behind them. Or the purple line. That one speaks medical.
Harnack would very much be intrigued to go with the medical.
Melnir will turn and start heading that direction then.
As everyone starts walking past the words, Tina will also voice out, also, if anyone else finds any strange words or anything like this on the ground, let me know. I do have the capacity to use my magic to, say, comprehend languages. I had to for this one, she lies.
Is there any words outside this doorway that we would see, like a faceplate or like a nameplate or something, or?
The purple line you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything, but the line leads right to the door.
Okay.
Is the door open or is it stay closed when we approach?
It doesn't open when you approach, but you could attempt to open this one.
So are we looking to go in this room?
Tina will take a nice grip of her staff and will nod her head. At your leisure, Master Harnock.
Alright, I'm gonna try and open the door.
Yeah, so if you push it, it kind of swings in.
This is a strange place.
I kind of like gently walk in, kind of slowly.
You're probably startled by the sight that you see. You walk into a very clean area with some beds inside of it. There's some shelving with all kinds of equipment and bandages and vials and things like that. But in the 3 beds, you see 3 sedated winged creatures.
Huh. I'm gonna slowly close the door back out and let everyone know what I saw.
Why don't we save that one for a little bit?
So how good of a look did I get at them? Do I know what the creatures are? Or...
I'm sure you do, given your history.
Alright, so I will say just if he... What are they?
They're devils of some sort.
Alright, so before he backs out to let everyone know what's in there, just because this is kind of a Harnock thing, would be if anyone can see him, he'd see the devils, and you'd almost see him flex his shoulders before he backed out.
Like the Harnock
Right.
equivalent to raised hackles.
Yeah, basically.
Something not right in there.
And then I'll let him know about the devils in there.
I mean, if they're sedated, maybe we should just go deal with them now.
I have a feeling it will not be that easy.
Aye.
I agree, but depending on what we may run into, we may not get a good chance. If they're out now, and she'll
That's-
look to Brill and say, "Can you be quiet?"
I can certainly be quiet. I don't know. I've never dealt with devils. I don't know if I can kill a devil just because it's sleeping. I just figure them sleeping seems like a better chance to deal with them than when they're awake, in theory. Even if it's only until we hit them and then they attack, that's still 1 extra attack we got in, right? Seems like we have the upper hand here.
So it seems.
So in Harnock's experience, what do I know about if we try to approach these things and fight them?
Well, you know that they are a lesser devil, which means that somebody is most likely commanding them if they're here, especially since they're sedated, probably undergoing some sort of experiment. Where there's one, there's more, and you haven't come across anything else. So I'm sure you're probably brain enough to figure out that it would cause a commotion that could potentially be more dangerous than not, but it's your game. Play it how you want to.
The elder votes leave them alone for right now.
Yeah, if they're here, they're not alone. And someone,
Yeah.
they're not here of their own accords.
I'd rather just close the door quietly and let's just keep looking around.
That's true. That's fair.
Fair enough.
Well, I know some of the doors were locked, and this may be a bad idea. But if we want answers about what's going on. Maybe, did you say one of the lines was security? I mean, maybe there's someone there who can at least tell us what's going on.
And Tina will point to the other door we're right next to with the black colored lights at its base.
Now,
Maybe this
don't get
one.
me wrong. Whoever is here may not want us here, and that may be a terrible idea. I just don't know anything about any of the other lines that I think we can get information there.
I'd rather just scout the place out first before we engage anything.
You know what, Melnir? That is a very
And that's coming from the
very-
barbarian.
Yeah, that's why Val just kind of stops and just like, huh? You know what, Melnir, you are entirely correct.
If something has summoned these devils and they're keeping them sedated, I have a feeling they are not going to be people we are very interested in meeting.
I mean, then why are we here?
I mean, fair.
For loot,
mean,
for
like-
adventure, for revenge, for vengeance,
Like, you-
for bloodshed,
be
for
fair,
glory.
I'm not saying we should leave here, but you did get Gopher's arm that you can show to Rabbit and talk to Rabbit, and then we can get back to looking for this lab with the Crone Stone.
We can. Can we go back to the door, though?
Oh. That's
That
fair.
door closed when the other one opened.
You're right, it did. We can't go back. We're here.
Well,
Onward to scouting, I guess.
but there is one thing. I'm not entirely sure, but there's a probable good chance that if that door activated like that, that when we try to leave, that door may open while the one we opened closes. It's only... It's a 50-50 chance.
I
It
don't
either
know.
will or
Give
it
it a
won't.
shot.
I don't know. I don't know that I really want to leave here. I'm just scared.
I don't want to necessarily leave either, but if we were to test that theory now, that would run the risk of alerting them of our presence more than we may already have.
I'm gonna say,
That's- That's a fair point.
In fact, Valentina's gonna look around to see if there's like anything moving, like on the corners, in the corners of the hallways or anything. And I'll go ahead and say it outright. Like, she doesn't know what she's looking for. Me as a player, I'm looking for cameras.
You don't see anything of the sort.
It is kind of weird that they have all this security and whatever, you know. The door was so hard to get into, but they don't even have someone posted there watching. Like,
That is true.
yeah.
So, down this way we have recreation, and she points further down, and then points back to this door. And this one's security. Since we're scouting out, we may as well make sure, because we already know all the other doors that way are closed and locked, perhaps.
well, we know one of them is. And I didn't really try to open it really that hard. It just didn't open for me like the front door. That was before I realized we had to push them.
It's a push, not a pull.
Well, if no one is willing to make a decision, let's check security. And Tina will check out the door.
This door is different. It is still a metal door, but there is a sort of glass window where you can see into the room. It is locked, but it's a pretty simple lock. DC 12 lockpick would get you in. And inside of it, you don't see anybody from where you're standing.
So Vala, as she's looking over the doorway, will put a finger towards where the lock is, and then turn to Brill and kind of motion for her to come.
Yeah. Bill will pull out her lockpicks and try to open the door. You're sure there's no one on the other side? Like, I don't want to open this and get stabbed.
I can't see anything over there, but I know there's magic that would prevent them from allowing me to see anyways. So I'll stand
okay.
here and cover you. So at least if you get stabbed, I can push you out the way.
We'll run for help.
And what do I roll? What am I adding to this?
It's just a DC 12.
Okay. I mean, that's a 12 with proficiency, and I don't know if I add dex or not. That makes it a 14.
Yeah, it's I think it's your Dex mod. I believe it is. So yeah, it opens, it clicks. You jiggle your tools and it clicks, and the door kind of swings in a little bit.
Since she's here, she'll kind of push it open and try to peer in without opening it all the way and look around as much as she can to make sure she's not about to open the door on someone.
You don't see anybody when you peek your head in.
Okay. Then she'll open the door and kind of step in.
When you go in, you see a desk in the back section down here.
Okay.
And above the desks on the walls are crystal screens, crystal display screens, each one of them showing different parts of where you're at. So you can see the hallway where you're at now. You see the medical room you're in, the door you came in, all of that, plus some rooms that you haven't entered yet you also see. There is an ashtray sitting on the desk next to a cup of coffee and a chair, and there seems to be like some overflowing rubbish from a bin below the desk, and snacks and crumbs like cheeses and breads and hard meats kind of spread across the desk. Very messy on the desk. In the ashtray is a still burning cigarette.
Okay, that answers that. I mean, Brill's gonna move in and she's gonna be like, there's no one in here, but it may not be that way for long. There's something that's still burning here. I don't know that Brill knows what a cigarette is, but...
Tina will slide in after and and immediately be captivated by the computer screens and looking into the other ones, specifically watching the medical room with the 3 creatures that Harnock explained.
Well, they're not computers; they're crystals. Like think of giant scrying glasses.
Okay.
Similar function. I know what you're going for, but
all right, less captivated, but still captivated.
Yeah, since you can see all the rooms, let me go ahead and drop some tokens on the board here.
I'm just going to stand back outside and kind of just keep guard, basically.
You're going to see some things. So let me, while you do that, while you look around, I'm going to do that. So feel free to, do whatever it is that party members do when the DM is busy.
I'm not going to lie. I was this close to having Tina after Brill entered because she mentioned she was scared. Close the glass door. Be like, what happened?
I was saying Harnock's like in the doorway, but he keeps looking at the door that the devils are in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Brill was going to look around to see how recently someone was here, and then there was a still burning cigarette. So we've got like 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, you're a smoker in the real world. You get that. You figured that part out.
I was like, oh,
yeah.
I don't... Brill doesn't need to know about smoking to know that something is still burning, so they haven't been gone that long.
Valentina will actually kind of like move over and will dip the edge of her pinky into the mug of black liquid and kind of give it a sniff.
Dirty bean water with a hint of sugar.
She'll take one like little taste. Why is it so bitter? Oh, I don't like that.
All right. So you can see the different rooms. There are several different style of individuals spread through it.
As Valentine is scanning the crystals, she'll glance back to Harnock when almost perfectly timed when he glances back at the medical screen, and she'll be, Harnock, if you knew what those were, then and we'll beckon him over and point to the rooms that are the crystals labeled with the rooms by chance?
No, but you can see the same color lines that run through the floor, kind of run around each of the crystal. Think of a really cool LED light on the back of your screen style thing, right?
Okay.
Similar, like the crystal glows from the back side, the same color as the lines that take you to each of those rooms.
All right, and she'll specifically point out the weapons and storage area, beckoning for Harnock to come and look.
Is there, I guess you put the tokens up. How much of this middle room can we see? Can we see whatever this weird glowy thing is?
Or do we just like see on the other side of the vault?
This
door?
one?
Yeah. The main.
You can see up to where it says do not cross. You can't see past that.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Thank you.
You can see everything else.
So this looks like everywhere could be a bad move.
I'll take a look at the screens. How much of everything that's here do I recognize?
A majority of it, because they're all different kinds of devils. Aside from the tentacle face boys, they're dressed kind of like high wizards would be. Somebody that uses a lot of scientific type of magic. That's what they're kind of dressed like. I'm not sure you recognize them, but you do recognize all of the others as some form of devil or another.
Harnock's gonna get really rigid and very on edge. We are not in a great place right now.
Tina will reach a hand out and place it on his shoulder and just kind of pat him on the shoulder a couple times, say, it's okay, relax. And she's going to take a closer look at the screen with the two high wizard looking things and the tigery thing.
The rec room here?
Yeah. She's going to get real close to the crystal. And what is it that they're doing in there? Are they just sitting there waiting?
They're kind of looks like they're talking. The two wizard dressed ones both have parchments in their hands, and they're kind of reading from the parchment, going over things. The other individual seems to be lounging, one leg crossed over the other, while this foot's up on the table, smoking a pipe, has a fine china teacup in the other hand, and sort of just listening to them speak.
Tina will point a finger to the crystal, pointing out the pipe that it's smoking from, and point back to that other to the now almost smoldering cigarette, and says, "That one was not the one that had that."
I would agree with that. So we have lots of information here, guys. What do we do with it?
She'll look to Harnock and take huge note of the rigidness and say, "Well, in the adventure to find knowledge, sometimes obstacles must be cleared. And one such obstacle has one of our friends really on edge. So tell me, Harnock, if we were to become engaged with these things, what do we need to know? You seem to know more than you want to let on."
So what do I know about their weaknesses?
Good question. Hold on. We know that they're devils, so whatever devils are weak to, I'll give you that until I get it open. I was not prepared for that question.
I'm pretty sure just about every devil is immune to fire. So there goes half of my spell.
Honestly, I don't think most of them have a weakness.
No, I'm not seeing them.
They're
having
they're good at resisting many things, but they're not very weak.
Yeah, look from what I'm looking at, it looks like most have telepathy.
I mean, they're pretty resistant to a lot of stuff, not weak to much.
Yeah.
Aside from probably cleric shit, which none of you are clerics to do cleric shit, so.
Nay.
And it looks like we have to hit them with like silvered weapons too.
I think or magic normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had the silvered weapon, non-silvered weapons, we'll just do half.
Immune to fire and poison. I pretty much, if we were to engage them and all that are here would come, we would not survive.
So what do we do next? Again, I don't know. Like they said that the crone stone was in a lab, right? We did get those words somewhere. I don't really know what a lab is.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a lab. So I feel like there's something we need to do here. But I don't know where you guys want to go about it first. Realistically, Brilla's kind of going over the map in her head while looking at the screens. From what we know, she points to the crystal that has like the cat and the two wizard people. These seem to be the most isolated ones. There are those sedated ones next door, and then there's us in the security. Everything else is grouped on the other side of whatever this is. So if we wanted a point to start, maybe down here is the place to start.
If I were to guess, I concur with that point. The room that we have the least knowledge of, and she points directly to the rec room where the tiger man is lounging. But if I were to make a guess, I don't gamble very much, but I think it's prime to think that this one might be the head. Harnock, how do devils work? If you were to take out the one who summoned them, would they disappear?
Would they disappear, really?
Maybe. Maybe.
I am unsure about that. I also don't recognize the things that are in there with him.
Do you know what that thing specifically is?
This one.
Or do you just know that it's some kind of devil?
Is that one some kind of devil?
This one is, yes.
Okay.
I won't say this is a devil, but something along the lines starts with an F.
Yeah.
Faye?
There is another option, but it's kind of not something that I think most people would go for, and I'm not actually advocating it.
What is that?
One of us could get caught. I don't know that. I don't have much of a plan beyond that. I just think that could be a way to get more info.
Wander in and say, "Hey, I thought this was the bathroom. Sorry."
Well, actually, so I have something that might pile in for that. I have a spell that allows me to open locked doors. The caveat, however, is knock, knock, knock. Very audible.
If we can open the door, I can send my raven in.
The idea with this is... the idea with this is I'm thinking. Well, actually, I do have something else that doesn't cost quite as much. And Tina will kind of look over towards Harnock, and she'll point a finger down at his feet and cast Minor Illusion in order to make a small popping noise at his feet. And then dismiss it. Advocating to have one of us in a dangerous position, I'm not too fond of, but we can distract them with a little bit of minor magic.
And then what?
Well,
What does that distraction get us?
Yeah, because I don't think you want them to get out into the hallway, because then they could make noise and wake up the sleeping things. If we're going to engage them, I'd rather go in the room, because in the hallway might bring more. So,
I was about to say, if they get back into the security room, they're gonna know we're here.
Yes. So we
There's-
don't have long to come up with some kind of plan. We now know where they are and sort of what they are, but we don't know why they're here, what they're doing.
and Tina will point to the crystal as some of them start making moves towards the door, and will wave to Melnir. Get in here, Melnir.
Oh,
slip back in here.
Close the door.
Click.
oh no!
Oh, they came here.
Knock, knock, knock at your door. At the door to the security.
Oh no.
Who is it?
Oh.
Not decent.
Not decent in the security office.
Tina will
We're
look-
just all piled in this corner, not answering
I mean,
the door.
because I'm trying not to be seen. I mean, he's
Yeah.
about ready to just go to the door and get ready to start swinging. I mean,
Let's see, what we do is we dishevel Melnir's hair in his armor.
You hear, if you don't answer within like, a minute or so, you hear the knocking again. And this one, it sounds more impatient.
There's a chair, right?
Yes.
I want to take the chair and lodge it under the door. Right? The door
But there's a
opened
glass
in.
screen there.
we're gonna see you.
Yeah, there's a glass window
Yeah.
in it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could try
Well,
it.
Bill can try and sneakily do it. I doubt it'll work, but
Val will like wave at Brill and be like, "Okay, you know what?
It's like
Burst
when someone knocks
out.
on your door, you try to be quiet, just hope they'll go away. So.
If you look at the crystal that displays the hallway, you see like the person standing there with their arms crossed, like tapping their foot, looking extremely annoyed.
Val is just utterly confused as to where whoever was in here went if it wasn't that thing."
Yeah, I don't
I
know what to do here.
guys.
They're coming
can-
in sooner or later.
We
Tina,
can burst out. We can
Yeah.
try to
Tina-
barricade.
Tina looks to Melnir and says, "I think it's time for you to use that hammer of yours, or whatever big weapon he's
Yeah,
carrying."
he's gonna move over here, and he's just getting in his stance, just waiting for them to open the door. Let's get to it.
It doesn't open the door when it sees you. It just kind of like waves its hand, like.
Tina's
Okay.
not. Tina
Okay.
reaches up and takes the mask off of her face, and her mouth is just agape as she's staring at the thing, waving into it. Then she looks to Harnock and Brill and says, "I think they're expecting us."
Now the door opens out or opens in.
It opens in.
I guess I can open it up and take a step back. At this point, I mean,
Val
just-
will. Oh, go ahead.
Open it. You said.
yeah, and take a step
When
back.
you open the door, he says, "It's about time. Master Robin will see you now," and he just leaves. Turns around and leaves.
Val has the exact same flabbergasted look, like just mask in her hand, like.
Oh, good, Christopher Robin. Okay.
I guess we'll get more information.
And I'm guessing that's Tigger over there. So.
Oh.
Val just shake her head, slowly reattach the mask, and kind of step out.
These doors are open when you come out.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's Tigger. So Christopher Robin's got to be somewhere else. So I guess we follow these dudes.
They don't seem to wait for you as they head off down the hallway that says Main. Oop, wrong thing. They head this direction. They don't wait for you or leave the door open once they go in.
Okay.
So
so then the door over here then is open?
This one is down here.
Okay.
I think we were supposed to go down there.
Tina will walk towards the open door and watch everyone else kind of follow the other way for a moment, and peek her head in and ask, are you Mr. Robin Christoph?
When you look in the room, Tina, you do not see the same figure that you saw before. You see a young man, probably 14, 15 or so, dressed very nicely. He's in some noble-like clothing, and he's got a flowing kind of cape behind him, and he sits where the other individual was before.
Tina, against her better judgment, will step in slowly after Melnir, as Melnir just comes.
Yeah.
I was like, Harnack's gonna really sit back.
In fact, she'll take this double seat over here.
The barbarian has used enough tact.
We've done your way. Now we're doing
Exactly.
my way. The hard way.
Yep.
The young man, he turns and says, yes, most call me Master Robin, but you can call me Christopher or CR.
Oh, I think we met one of your old friends. He told us you came in here.
Oh, which one?
I don't think he gave us a name. He was a fisherman. He lived on the pier, just outside of the forest.
Oh, young Chadwick. Yes. Hard-working young fellow.
He seemed kind of concerned about you.
Oh, that's because we don't play boys' games anymore. I'm much too grown for those sort of things. And he taps a pipe and repacks it and relights it.
This is... And she'll glance around the room and say, I would be lying if I said this place is unlike any other that I've seen or possibly dreamed up.
Do you like it? It's nice, isn't it? And he points around the room. And the room that you're in looks very different from any of the other ones that you have been in the place that you are. You don't quite know what it is yet. It's very elegantly done. It has wooden floors. The walls are also wood. They have arches in them, some greenery, bookcases. There's a wine rack, different tables. There's a billiards table, and then the doors at the back side go towards resting quarters and a rest room if you need it. And a massive shelf of books, and I believe a piano behind you, Brill. Yep. And a piano. It's a very elegant room. Brill, you probably recognize this decor style as you have been in the mansion up above.
The tentacle face guys said, you were waiting for us? Is there something we can do for you?
Well, Gopher had mentioned that you were here, and I was wondering when you were coming to visit.
Did you say gopher?
Yes. Well, one of them.
Well, yeah,
Mark-
I mean, we actually tried to visit you a few days ago. We knocked on your house, but it tried to eat us.
Oh, yes, just a security measure for those who come uninvited to tea.
So I take it that me, and she'll point towards Melnir, me and him were cordially, very stone-like invited to tea? Or... I'll cut to the chase. Why did I wake up in this place? Or the crystalline caverns?
Oh, probably one of Gopher's games. I have never seen you before.
I don't like games.
Insight check.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I roll too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. I am not good at it. So... 16.
Okay.
10.
Okay. You're just one under what you would need. So as far as you know, Valentina, it's the truth. Well, you as well.
Alright, I'll check the not sus box. When she will glance back to Harnock, who has been very back and very quiet.
He is just staring this man down right now.
I don't want to be rude, but I don't know that I received an invitation to tea.
Oh, I didn't send any. That's why.
But we're invited.
Noah, the house eats those who are uninvited.
But we're here and we didn't get eaten, so that means we're invited.
Well, it's a kind of a different part of the house, and apparently you figured out how to get in.
So it's a test.
Maybe. More like, what do they call it? Trials.
Most trials have some form of title or reward to be granted at the end of them. If this is, as you so specifically chose, a trial, then what is it that is up for play?
The opportunity to make a bargain with me.
And what kind of bargain do you want to make?
Well, whatever suits your fancy. You ask for something, I make it happen. We sign a little paperwork, and, we both win.
There's always the catch. This for that.
When you say you make it happen, you mean anything?
Everything has a price. So yes, anything.
So if I wanted to find someone who hasn't been here for over 100 years, you could make that happen?
Yes. Just because they haven't been in the material plane doesn't mean they're not in another one.
This is when Bro would like to insight, and I would like to use my Inquisitor's Eye background feature.
Mm-hmm.
The Inquisitor's stare, you've seen more fear and pain each day. With a mere glance, you can tell if someone is hiding something, if they're in pain, and if they're about to succumb to injuries. Once per day, you can automatically succeed on a Wisdom Insight check, or know if a living creature is at less than 10% of its maximum hit points.
He tells the truth.
Brill will take a step forward.
Val will she has her head tilted hard to the side right now. And I have no... Your words ring true. But something feels off. Like I've been down this road before. But that's hard to question properly. I've been down many roads in my dreams.
I have the same feeling that perhaps we made a bargain and perhaps lost or were cheated.
You say everything has a price.
It does.
So what would the price be for what I ask?
Well, it could be the color of your hair, all of your memories before you were 3, or it could simply be a favor for me to call in when I need it.
Are
It
those
depends.
options?
Well, it's just examples, not necessarily options.
Are you saying you don't know what I'll be giving you?
Well, it depends on how difficult this individual is to locate and how many strings I have to pull to bring them here. Because what you're asking, if they haven't been here for 100 years, is that I may have to pull someone from, well, you know.
What if we choose not to play your game?
Well, then you choose not to play.
So we could just walk out of here.
Sure.
I know that's no fun, but
I mean,
Milner's very pragmatic.
I'm about to say, if anyone looks at Harnock, he's literally just gonna slowly shake his head no.
Oh, Brill hasn't taken her eyes from Chris.
Val has been glancing back at Harnock, and when Harnock actually steps more into the room, she'll like sidestep on the seat and like beckon for him to come sit down.
Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat or a glass of wine? It's not poisoned, I promise.
Yeah, Harnock is still just gonna stand there, and he is almost white knuckling his staff right now.
No doubt he is. Well, would you like to make a bargain? Is there something that you would like for me to make happen for you?
If you can bring her back, I don't care what the price is.
Are these individual deals or as a group?
Individual.
Okay.
Everybody always has a choice.
But if you're going to be pulling strings, it might interest you to know that mine's already been pulled, and she's going to remove her glove and show the thread just to see if there's a reaction from the woman in the cottage.
No, just he just smirks and says, "Ah, so you've made deals before."
This one's a more willing deal.
I mean, yours will be completely willing should you choose to sign.
That's what I mean. You're not holding me here, shrinking me down to the size of a toy, and telling me that the only way I can leave is to make a deal.
No, I have plenty of people to do my bidding if you choose not to.
Brillo hold out her hand to shake, I guess. She doesn't really know how this works.
Come, have a seat. Do you have anything that belonged to the individual you're looking for?
I don't think I have anything that belonged to her. But
Okay,
I have
a name will
something.
do. A true name.
Ooh, I don't know that Brill knows enough to be cautious about that.
Oof.
So
I
the player
also-
knows, but not the character.
I also am trying to find where I wrote that backstory that had her name. But Brill, I believe it was Lessie. Or no, it was Liz. And she will also pull out her Inquisition signia because she had that when she was with her, and say this wasn't hers, but it was near her for a long time, and in theory, I assume was on whatever plane she is on.
He snaps his fingers and he's sitting in his little chair in front of the table. And he snaps his fingers and a little silver bowl appears on the table. And it kind of fills itself with this shimmering kind of liquid. And he pulls a piece of parchment out of his pocket in a quill and slides it to you and has you write her name down.
Okay. And Brill does.
And he folds it and he puts it in the bowl. And it kind of smokes, and then an image, you don't see an image, but he appears to be looking at some sort of image, and he kind of moves his fingers over the liquid, moving it around to kind of get a better view. And he says, interesting place. Trapped between dimensions. Very sparkly. Oh, this could work. And he pulls another parchment out of his pocket, and it's kind of rolled up like a scroll would be, and it's sealed. And he hands it to you and says, if you want me to bring her, you sign.
She'll open the scroll and check for any fine print, because, I mean, she knows
Your payment is one favor.
Cool. Awesome. That's super open-ended. But Brill's gonna sign anyways.
You said anything.
And I meant it. And she'll sign and hand it back.
And near your tattoo that you have of the spool of thread, another one kind of pops up on your skin. This one kind of goes down onto your hand, but also up your forearm. It's a tree, like a giant tree, very symbolic of the Dark Oak Grove where you're at.
Okay.
It's the roots that grow down on your hand, and then it's just like a big kind of oak tree from your wrist up to your elbow. It's very elegant. It looks very nice. However you want it to look, you can decide, but it's a nice tree.
Yeah. We're cool with like a dark oak. That works.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna look around and be like, so what? That's it?
And he pulls out of the bowl a second Inquisition symbol, one that looks like yours, but is hers. And he says, take it to the last place you saw her. And he gives you a bowl and a vial of this sort of mercury-looking liquid. And he says, when you get there, just before the sun sets, right as the moon rises, you put the liquid in the bowl and the symbol, and she will come back to you.
Got it.
But bear in mind, somebody who has been trapped in a place like that for so long may not be the same as you remembered them before.
I know better than most that place can change people. That's going to be difficult.
Consider me now your patron of sorts. If you need something, just
And I assume you'll just pop up whenever you need something.
Pretty much.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if this place exists anymore. You should know that if this doesn't work, though, I will be coming for you.
I assumed as much, and I would expect nothing less.
And she will awkwardly get up, I guess.
Kind of captivated by the scene, Val has been kind of just watching Brill and Christopher, glancing back to Harnock. But as it kind of started to droll on, she'll actually use Mage Hand to bring over a glass and one of the bottles of wine and start pouring herself a glass of wine.
It's some very old, very nice vintage of red wine.
Guys, we still don't know where we are.
Not at all.
Bro will turn around and say, so, if you're my patron, I can ask you questions, correct?
Within reason, of course. Some secrets cannot always be revealed.
What is this place?
Oh, this is a place for me to research magic.
You don't say.
Yes, different types of magic. As you know, some are older than others, which I think you experienced upon completing your trials to get here.
Tina will take a long draught of the vintage red, and before placing the glass back down at the table, she'll take the book that she placed down on the table to take a couple notes and close it up before attaching it to the leather belts under her robes, and will kind of briskly walk over to Brill, placing a hand on her shoulder after she stands up and kind of step forward past her. And place her a lone hand on the corner of the table. And she's just going to kind of keep her quizzical look locked on to Christopher for a moment before... I'll be honest, I feel I'm lacking too much knowledge to think of any... thing that I might want. You're here researching magic. My entire life has been searching it, finding the meaning behind the ancient words. So I don't truly think there's anything that you would have that I might want. But I think you know things that I might want to know that I don't even know that I know. Would I be incorrect in that assumption?
I'm sure smart devil man probably grasped onto those words that you said, but my brain went error 404.
Basically, she's basically asking, do you know something that I don't know that you feel I need to know?
Aha, see that Englished.
I can English sometimes.
I can't.
You don't know what you don't know.
I'm
Basically,
not sure if there's anything that I could give you in a book, since I assume that's what you like to learn from, But I think there might be something else under your skin that's interested in learning a job similar to mine.
while the look on Tina's face is of one of having absolutely no idea what they're talking about, almost without trying, she slyly like slides into the chair, turns it towards, places an elbow and puts her fingers to her chin and says, "Do go on."
And he kind of looks around at the others and then looks back at you and says, "Permission to speak freely?"
This is your domain. I feel I have no right to
Well,
say otherwise.
it is your business, however. And some business is best conducted away from potentially prying eyes. And he just turns over and looks at Harnock and says, "No offense."
Harnack's gonna whip his head up, and he's gonna take one more step, and then he's gonna stop again.
Team will glance back at Harnock and remember something that he mentioned about the devils, the telepathy, and will kind of look to the Val gets kind of distracted for a split moment before glancing over to him, and she'll put her she'll like open up her index finger and point and tap her forehead, and then nod and shake her head, as if to signify, "Say it in here, and I'll give you a yes or a no."
Okay.
I'll actually even try to be sly and stealthy about it, if need be.
No, you're okay. So he starts talking to you in your own mind where others can't hear you, as he just appears to smoke his pipe and drink out of his little teacup. And his pinky is out. I will make note of that.
Yes.
And he's drinking tea. Maybe. But anyway. So he talks to you, Tina, and he says, "Some part of me tells me that some part of you wants to learn how to, well, just to put it plainly, how to make others do your bidding via contracts as well."
And Tina's eyes will kind of glance downwards as she doesn't know what he's saying, but her head involuntarily nods forward before her eyes kind of flash, and she has "I think I know what you might have for me." She pictures in her mind a recurring dream, a place of brimstone, sulfur, of heat, and of danger, with the sound of her screaming in the background. And she asks, "Can you help me remember what I may have forgotten?"
He sets his teacup down and he reaches his hand out towards you, like to hold your hand.
And she'll offer her hand, full ladylike.
And he'll just take it, and you'll see the memory that you're trying to recall.
Oh, okay. Tina experiences that moment for a good few seconds, but in a complete abrupt change, she pulls her hand back, stands up, and knocks the chair backwards, even falling over it and kind of like crawling off of it for a moment before she's hyperventilating. She's breathing heavily for a moment. She reaches up, pulls the mask off, and tosses it to Brill's feet. wasn't a dream. And she says aloud. And she'll glance to Brill and Harnock and Melnir for a moment before realizing where she's at. She'll kind of stand up and stand the chair back up, kind of resettling her robes, and will look at Mr. Robin, who I just imagine has this big smirk on his face.
Mm-hmm. And he just puffs his pipe. Well, child?
What would you take? She asks in a quiet tone.
He whispers in your mind, and he just says, I name you my successor. And he says, that will take enough.
Tina will pull out one of her own pieces of parchment and toss it onto the table.
He will write a thing out with his own quill, and he just signs it CR, and then he'll give it to you to sign as well.
Tina will kind of step over actually to where Harnock is, placing it onto the table and then beginning to sign it. If Harnock at all pays attention to what she signs, he'll get a full readout of her name, Valentina Echelon Telegrith, with the T cross from Telegrith reaching all the way across to Valentina over Echelon.
And when you do sign it, a tattoo very similar to Brill's appears on your arm. But your tree isn't a blossoming oak tree. It is more like a twisted and gnarled, more dead-like tree.
She'll scratch it at her arm where it starts to appear before tossing the parchment back over to him.
And he just picks it up, rolls it up, and taps it on the table, and another one identical to it appears. And he gives you a copy, and he tucks the other one in his jacket.
And she glances over to the large, wide bookshelf and will walk past Harnock out the door and say to them, I think we're done here, in a rather cold tone.
Brill will look to Harnock and think again. Do you think this is where it is?
Harnock will be silent for a few moments, and as he turns, he'll say, almost definitely.
So you don't want to ask?
I don't want to talk to this guy at all.
Before she leaves, just to pry a bit, and probably too much, but we'll just kind of turn over her shoulder and say, do you know anything about something called a crone stone?
Oh, this old thing? And he pulls a little chunk of rock, much smaller than what you expected, and he tosses it to you. That thing is useless. I don't know what the elves saw in it anyways.
We were told we would know it when we see it. Does this feel like the crone stone?
It feels like if you touch it, you feel magic, but if Harnock was to touch it, he would feel the more earthy magic simply because he's a druid and he has ties to that. It's just much smaller than what you expected it to be and it looks like it's been like worn away and sort of abused really over the time period that it's been gone.
Brill will exit behind Harnock and hold it to him and say, supposedly this is it.
I'll confirm that I can feel like the earth magic and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I
just,
guess that... Yep.
It feels faint. It feels weak to you, Harnock, and like I said, it's much smaller than what you were envisioning it would be. Like, they've been using it for a long time, sapping the magic out of it, trying to get it to do something that they couldn't necessarily get it to do. So it's just like the leftovers of the experiment, whatever's left of it.
Well, I guess that's that. We can get out of this hell forest now, right? After you talk to the dead donkey.
So,
Dead donkey.
That's why we
Harnock-
were in this hole in the first place.
I was about to say, Harnock's the last one in the room now, it looks like.
Yeah, if
Yes.
you want to be. Yeah.
So I know, Harnock knows that this dude knows, right?
Yeah, you guys,
made it pretty apparent.
you recognize each other as, nemesises.
I'm trying to... So once they leave the room, I'm going to turn back. And I'm going to say in Celestial to it, you will not survive much longer before leaving.
And he just smirks at you and says in Infernal, "What's dead may never die."
Harnock will walk out the room.
Tina, on like when everyone else kind of comes out, is standing over actually by the wall with her forehead actually pressed against the wall as she's just literally standing there deep in thought, replaying everything over and over.
So, Harnock, how do we get to a city that doesn't exist anymore?
So before Harnock answers, he's going to turn to the wall and he's going to punch the wall before recollecting himself. And what do you mean?
Well, he told me I have to go to the last place where we met, and that was at Umio's gate when they tried to open the portal. I mean, if we're going north, we could take the roads and go past the mountains, see where it was.
We can at least visit where it was last known of.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I came out there a few months ago. It was mostly barren wasteland, but I guess things are different now. But before that, we have to get out of here. And you have to talk to Rabbit,
We gotta talk to Rabbit.
and then the donkey.
Yes.
Tina, are you okay?
She doesn't respond really much at all, but after like half a minute, she'll just kind of wave her hand back. It's like, just leave it be. She is uncharacteristically, wow, I can English, characteristically quiet and not as interested. For as little that you've known her for, anyways.
Melnir, any last minute business you have down here in these tunnels, or you missed the
Nope.
sky?
Nope. Let's get out of here.
We do have to find a way out now. But I mean, we can exit the lab and go back to where we came in. We just have to find a way to climb our way out now.
Harnock's down. Harnock does not want to be here anymore. He's gonna basically just silently walk to the front door.
So you want to go? You're just gonna leave, right? Go back to the main crystal room.
Yeah, we have to figure out a way to get out. Our rope was pulled up through the weird dimensional hole in the ground.
Who has the veil fire and is it out?
I think I have it, and I didn't explicitly have it out, but if we're bored and can't figure out another way out of here, I'm sure at some point Bill would pull it out.
So if you remember, some of the tunnels look like they haven't been used.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have it written down. Okay. When you go back in, 1, 2, 6, and 9 had not been used. 9 is like the west side, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the ground in front of it, if you use your veil fire, written in word marks, it says the way out is through.
And I assume Tina would read that
Yes.
and either say something or just start walking down. And I don't know.
Tina doesn't follow you guys right away. She just keeps her head against the wall. Wait, and doesn't until you probably come and actually get her from her little trance.
Well, yeah, and that would have been before we got to the crystal. Probably by the time we got to the door and Brill noticed you weren't here, she would have come back and like grabbed your hand and pulled you along.
Come along, witch. Let's get out of here.
And she'll read the word marks, being very not distant, but well, she'd been very excited to be deciphering them previously. She just kind of nonchalantly states it and points in the direction that they say, which was through the door or the door we came in, or was it down the main?
This is way back in the crystal room in the tunnels. We're out of the lab.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. We don't have a map for that. It's just hand drawn in my notebook.
It was essentially a central chamber with 12 tunnels off of it. We nicknamed them 1 through 12 like a clock. And
Yep.
tunnel 9 said the way out is through.
Yeah, because those were the ones that when Harnock looked, they hadn't been walked down.
The way out is through. Any ideas?
I mean, we can go through the tunnel.
Then let's go. Tina will start to walk down the tunnel.
Yeah, and you walk down it for about 20, 30-ish minutes, and it opens up at the edge of the Dark Oak Grove where the water is not too far from that little fisherman's hut.
Oh. Sorry, Harnock. But, I mean, do you want to go back in to go talk to Rabbit and Donkey? You did tell Donkey you'd be back.
I do want to go talk to the donkey.
So I guess we're coming out and going back in.
Take a quick whiff of fresh air and be like, all right, let's go back.
Not back into the tunnel, but we'll go back through the path we followed to get
I gotta give the gopher arm to the rabbit too.
Oh.
Yeah, you know the way now. You've been there before, and it's not as illusionary or difficult to get to as it was since you've come across it. So you're able to traverse your way back. It takes you a little bit of time. If you remember, it was a little bit of a walk, but you get there and you come in right by Donkey's, similar to how you did before.
Do you want to stop at Donkey's first? You have already talked to Rabbit, so you could knock Donkey out.
I want to talk to Rabbit first.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to Rabbit's farm with the. Who's got the bag of holding?
Brill does. I'll give you Gopher's arm without touching the crystal.
Yeah, it's wrapped in a blanket.
I still can't believe we're in an evil 100-acre wood. I love it.
It's been pretty interesting, I think.
Harnack's gonna tentatively step onto Rabbit's farm and look for rabbits.
They don't, the little rabbits don't attack you this time since, Rabbit did tell you to come back.
All right.
But he's in his hoarder house, so.
All right, I'm gonna go to like the entrance and kind of like knock on it.
Yeah, you hear him like scrambling, and then he comes to the door. His dirty robe and his red puffy eyes. He just looks at you like unimpressed.
I'll hand him Gopher's arm. This is all that is left of him.
Yes. So he kind of just looks at you. You killed the blasted gopher? Good. He'll leave my carrots alone. And he takes the blanket and tosses it into like one of his rubbish piles and shuts the door in your face.
That's about right.
To be fair, you were going to ask him about the lab and the crone stone, and we already got that, so we don't really need anything else from him. It's still rude.
Very rude. Alright, let's go back to Donkey now.
Val has a finger pointed at the door and says, "It was very rude. Do you want me to knock for you?"
No, don't do that. Don't knock. This is where the evil rabbits are.
Ah, okay. And she'll point her finger down at like the little. Is this like a stream or a river?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little creek.
Yeah, she'll just shoot a fireball into the creek, just causing a splash and a slivering for a moment, before just kind of following after, half distracted still.
Wait, a fire bolt or a fireball?
Bolt.
Fireball.
I was like, you're burning a 3rd level spell just because.
No, I'm gonna burn a 3rd level spell and throw fireball at the rabbit house, because that's where Hardock got his deep wound. If I was to do that, that's what I would do.
Yeah. That's what happens when you go in people's houses uninvited.
This is what happened. Stinking rabbit.
And you're
This
back.
isn't Zelda.
He's staying back, not trying to look at the donkey or engage.
Oh yeah, it's horrific. Let me get the notes about this donkey.
Poor donkey.
Because 2 of you have not seen Donkey before, so.
How could you do that to Eeyore?
You gonna
Yeah.
play the whole thing?
Poor depression Eeyore.
No, I'm just gonna read the description of Eeyore for them. I'm not gonna play them the video, they don't need that. Okay, Eeyore. Wow, that's rabbit. Okay, Eeyore. Anyway. When you look at Eeyore, you see something very interesting and disgusting. His moldering skin has pustules and things like that all on him. He's really... Hold on. I do have a picture of him.
Burn it.
It is a cursed image, but...
Oh, so what you're telling me is Eeyore has sworn fealty to Nurgle.
Yes. It is
Becoming a
heresy.
great
Burn it.
one. Yes.
Oh, trust me, we wanted to. Harnack wouldn't let us.
Oh no, Eeyore! I love
Yeah,
it.
he's gross.
Aw.
He's gross. So that's our Eeyore. He's like pussy and gross, but Harnack made a deal with him. Well, kind of a deal, I guess you'd say.
Val,
Like Go ahead.
I was gonna say Val is going to pull out a small vial and is gonna use Mage Hand and slowly move it over and take a sample of that pus that's on the ground. Might be useful for something later.
If you really want to do that, go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
Even though I'm using Mage Hand?
Oh, if yours a Mage Hand, then yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I didn't
Mage
hear
Hand. Mage Hand. She'll also have the Mage Hand literally be invisible, so she pulls out the vial, and then the vial gets pulled out of her hand by an invisible force before it's lowered and then capped.
Yeah,
Before returning
gross.
to her hand.
Gross. Disgusting. Yeah. So, Eeyore, what you got to say, Harnock?
I'm just gonna cross-legged and right outside again. I told you I'd be back, my donkey friend.
You're an honorable man.
And then
He says, you should have this. And he gives you this interesting looking crown.
all right, Harnock will take it.
Oh no! Congratulations, you have not been cursed.
No.
First time.
I'll say, since we're giving gifts, friend, I'm gonna light my magic candle and give it to you, or the one that gives you
The one
nostalgia.
that smells nice. Yep. That's so nice of you.
Aw.
That is very kind.
I wish you the best, my friend, but I must go now.
All right.
Tina will look over to Brill and say, Brill, why don't you pull out one of those, the bloodstones? One of the gems we got.
Why?
She's bullshitting the shit out of this, but, well, stones of that variety can sometimes help with, and she'll glance to the pussy, abscessy Eeyore and say, ailments. Since you were so kind as to let me take a sample without questioning, I'll take claim of that and offer that in return. Perhaps the stone of colored of blood will bring relief.
I mean, the bloodstones were really nice gemstones, though.
No, they're not. They're low. They're low tier.
The bloodstones were 50 gold pieces apiece.
Were they?
Yes, I have it written down.
Oh,
Yeah. Blue quartz 10 gold pieces, tiger's eye 10 gold pieces, lapis lazuli 10 gold pieces, malachite 10 gold pieces, 2 bloodstones 50 gold pieces each, 1 jasper 50 gold piece, 1 carnelian 50 gold piece, amethyst 100 gold piece.
all right. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Let me replace the word bloodstone with the tiger eye.
That I have no problem with. Sure, here you go. You can give it to the donkey. I'm not getting closer to that thing.
Val will go and get it, and she'll walk over by Harnock and offer it to Harnock so he can give it to the donkey as the predetermined friend.
I shall offer it to the donkey.
Thank you. Come back again. You've been a good friend.
Harnock, if we can take 10 minutes... Never mind. Totally not me remembering that I may have a way to cure all diseases with the 3rd level spell slot, but then being like, nah, I already gave him a tiger's eye.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no fixing Eeyore.
What if I offered him a deal? I'm kidding.
If he wasn't what he was.
Gotcha. Totally a joke, though.
one of the things that they were told before coming here is nothing is as it seems.
Ah. If only I
Do
could
that.
And Eeyore's words to me were he was pulled from the cosmos.
That's true. He said something about being pulled down from the cosmos.
That only makes it more interesting. What?
Yours one of the great old ones. So,
Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this how I get a? Is this how I get a level up in Warlock for Great Old One? Consume the pus of a Great Old One.
That'd be some shit if it was, wasn't it? All right. So you keep your commitment to Eeyore. You know how to get out of here. Where do you choose to go? Are you going to take your boat back the same as before?
I think that makes sense. We have to go give this pebble to the elves and hope it's what they were looking for. We get there and they're like, oh no, this is just a piece of it. You need to go back.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see at least back to the Elvish city why we wouldn't
Okay.
take the
All right.
boat
That's
there,
what we'll
and then we
do.
can figure out supplies and where to next.
That's what we'll do. We will pick up next session in the Elven city. We'll talk about your long rest and stuff because it's a 3-day trip, so you'll have another long rest. So, all right, fantastic. So we'll cut it there. I would like to remind everybody in the audience that we have our Trevor Project fundraiser game this Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. We will be playing Babies and Broadswords Crawl of Cthulhu by Even Footing Games. It's going to be super exciting, and I'm ready to play it. So come hang out, drop some donations and things. We're going to have some giveaways and all that. We did last year for Trevor Project, we did, I think, $2,800 is what we raised last year. So I'm hoping to meet and beat that this year. So that being said, we will run a raid out to XP Guild. Why not? We like those guys. The other Dave is over there. And we'll catch everybody hopefully Saturday, and if not, we'll see everybody on Monday. So let me click buttons here. Button. Yep. Okay, button 1 and button 2.